of the sessions that we have within these 2 weeks. So it's a privilege to open the day, and we have excellent sessions that are happening today morning. This one is particularly interesting. I'm very, very happy to have this session. Somehow, I'm very proud to see that this was kind of a challenge that we launched back in May at the World Forestry Congress in Korea. And so we identify and gather the needs really to promote innovations for financial instruments, focusing on nature-based solutions and forestry-based applications. So we initiated this challenge, and we start talking to colleagues, friends of the Global Innovation Hub. So I'm very, very happy to have Jose Lindo today with us, who took this challenge forward, start networking and advancing on these innovative financial instruments. So it's really a privilege to have Jose Lindo and the panelists. He will be taking the session forward together also with Maria, moderating the session. So it's good to see you also in the Global Innovation Hub pavilion. And on these welcoming remarks, I just wanted to say that the Global Innovation Hub stay ready to collaborate, to promote radical collaboration, and to take these innovative actions forward. Thank you, and welcome to the Hub.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Masamba and the Global Innovation Hub. Happy Friday. I'm Jose Lindo, the co-founder of Climate Coin, and I will presenting the carbon credit tokenization demo with Eco Registry, the Colombian registry of with the tax. These credits can be a collateral for green bonds, as explained yesterday by our colleagues from the Bank of International Settlements, the Genesis project. Nature-based solutions or adaptation-based ecosystems schemes should be a priority for climate finance and the new climate emerging technologies. Following the success of the proof of concept of the tokenization of retail green bond as part of the Genesis project, using both public and blockchain and permissioned blockchain, from the proponents of these sessions, we want to develop a second prototype, a version with additionality and non-market approach with the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. On the social side, the Amazon and Mayan communities from Colombia and Mexico. On the biodiversity side, the jaguar and their serious threat. If you are so kind, you can press play to start the tokenization demo. Let's humanize the carbon credits, thinking a project developer is an indigenous community in the Colombian Amazon. It's important to say that we use Algorand because it's the blockchain that invented the proof of stake to be carbon neutral. We have in the wallet with the third party, Climate Coin achieves the custodian for greater integrity, and Climate Coin can be a pay with carbon, pay with your mitigations. Eco Registry was the first blockchain registry under Ethereum and as a member of the Climate Change Coalition. We are now transferring the to tokenize Colombian tax carbon credits. So if you go to the project developer Algorand wallet right now, we can see that the 13 credits. Okay. Perfect. We are going to swap. We're swapping the one NFTs. Let's check. So we don't have these credits in an NFT, non-fungible format with a specific data like vintage, typology, methodology, anymore. But we have 19 fungible climate coins ready to go to the market. Now we will on the option of setting some company or another polluting city wants to be carbon neutral through blockchain. As you can see, Eco-Registry is the custodian of the cancellation of the credits, and as a great novelty, the certificates arrive in PDF and in non-fungible token with a serial number that justifies that there is no double counting. The fact that this certificate is a non-fungible, it's what allows use to a carbon credit for the Web3, metaverse, and decentralized economy. Thank you, and the floor is yours, Mariana, and their panelists.
Thank you very much, Jose, and congratulations. We wish you the very best with this new project, and I'm very, very happy. My name is Mariana Castaño Cano, climate communication expert, a former UN climate change colleague, so I am double happy to be here today in this beautiful Global Innovation Hub with Carlos, with Masamba. Congratulations for the beautiful space, physical here, but virtual throughout the year that you maintain, and all the partners that you bring together with innovation as the motto. Congratulations for that. And I am not going to be alone in this panel, because I must say that this is a universe I am not comfortable with. I've been doing climate communications for I don't know how many years now, but almost 10 years. I must say that the applications of the blockchain to the climate finance of carbon credit, it is a landscape that it is unknown for me, so I am stepping quietly, and I need to have a hand held by the next two colleagues that will come to the scene with me. I would like to introduce you to Jorge Calderón, who is online. Jorge Calderón from the Banco Mestizo Maya Earth Lab. And also we have online Mariana Sarmiento from Colombia. Mariana represents Terrasos Habitat Bank. Mariana and Jorge are connected online. It is super early for them, so thank you very much, Mariana and Jorge, for joining us. And here in Sharm el-Sheikh, we have Juliana Tinoco. Juliana, please. Juliana Tinoco is a colleague from Partnerships for Forest by Palladium, and also Edgar Parra, Senior Investment Officer at the Inter-American Development Bank Lab, is here with us today. Do you have all your mics? Yeah, super, excellent. How are you doing? Juliana,
Good.
how are you doing?
Good. Is it working?
Yeah, perfectly.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keep it up. Huh? It's almost the last day at COP. For us,
Exactly.
it's the last day. For many others, it's not the last day. Jorge, how are you doing?
Fine. Thank you very much for inviting me here. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Mariana, good morning. I don't know how to say good night for you. Good morning. ¿Cómo estás? Hello. We cannot hear you.
Oh no.
Yeah, now we can.
Better?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're here.
Very early. What time is it for you, Mariana?
3:10.
3? Okay. You are a hero. Jorge, good morning. Okay. Sorry? We're calling him. Probably he forgot to set the alarm clock. Too early or too late, Carlos? Okay, so as I said, I'm not an expert in the field. I still need to get a crunch course by Jose, but there is something that really resonated on me. Let's humanize the blockchain. Let's put blockchain at the service of the biggest challenge humanity is facing, which is the threat of climate change. As we speak here, negotiators are talking about Article 6, how to organize the procedures to implement these market and non-market-based mechanisms to allow countries, but also companies, to advance in the decarbonization of their activities. The tokenization of carbon credits through blockchain to avoid double counting, which is one of the biggest risks of these financial solutions. It's an innovative solution, and it opens the door for new communities that were probably not well equipped before to come up into the market, to offer their solutions, and to be paid for those solutions. So I would like to know what is it that you are doing in this field so that we understand better what are these solutions. And maybe I turn to the Inter-American Development Bank lab first to understand how are you approaching, Jorge, these new innovative financial solutions.
Thank you very much. Yes, of course. I would like to start talking to you about Eco Leticia platform that was launched during the first week here at COP27. It is a digital collaborative platform aimed to support filling the conservation financing gap in the Amazon region by optimizing project financing channels in this region. In other words, the platform is a matchmaking tool between investors and potential biodiversity and climate projects. The platform shows priorities, levels of biodiversity, levels of poverty, as well as potential returns in terms of environmental, social, and economic impact. This platform is led by IDB Group and the government of Colombia. The idea is to scale this platform regionally around the Amazon region. That means Colombia, Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, so on. That is why there are some investors such as IDB Lab, WWF, Paulson Institute, and support from the Natural Capital Lab and Google as well. So this type of platforms is much needed to generate confidence and to help and enable investors to find interesting and sustainable projects in the Amazon region. Basically, this platform will match investors and high impact projects. The platform is based on artificial intelligence, mapping a piece of land, identifying its conditions and potential, and then communicated all this information to potential investors. So this platform is going to help investors to better understand the geographies around the region and also priorities that have more potential and impact according to conservation, restoration goals, and also to identify those projects that are strategic for each country in the region. We at IDB think that giving investor access to information about where they should invest to generate the highest impacts in terms of environmental, social, and economic will increase significantly the confidence on putting their money in a specific projects, and then this also will encourage the development of biodiversity and carbon projects here in the region.
Before we wait for Jorge, I think he is not yet connected. I have a follow-up question for you. Edgar, you mentioned biodiversity, right? I think we are missing the point of nature here, because we forget that we are nothing without nature. Nature is not an add-on to our environment. Humans depend on nature, right? And when we talked about climate finance, very often we forget how without nature and a healthy nature, no human activity will be sustained in time. From the Inter-American Development Bank and the lab specifically, what is the importance that you place in nature-based solutions and how that this interconnect with climate finance, and also benefiting not just the people, not just the biodiversity, but also the people. How central is nature?
Yes, that is very important question, because when we talk about conservation and restoration activities, there are, for example, indigenous communities. There is a very important social impact there. So to tackle all the challenges that this topic is facing, it's very important to take advantage of the innovation and of the technology. So these two tools are really, really important to face the challenges that we have nowadays related to climate. So we have to put the resources, to put the money in that regions that generate the most valuable impact for the nature, but also for people, for social.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. And now we move, Juliana, to you. I would like to learn a little bit more about Terrasos. So, what is it, and why the Palladium Group decided to invest and to promote Terrasos? Could you please let us know a little bit more about that?
Thank you. Actually, because we do have Mariana here, who is the
Okay.
person from
Sure.
Terrasos, I just wanted to make a brief introductory remark before I pass on to the actual person who is going to explain Terrasos further. So, like you, I come from the communication field, and starting to learn more, and I'm Brazilian. By the way, I work for a program that operates in Latin America, but based in Brazil. And starting to tap into this universe, and by observing what Jorge presented just now, I get the sense of how little I know from the whole conversation. And I think Terrasos for us is one of the most innovative initiatives that we support, precisely because it goes into a very new field of how we actually can go beyond the conversation on carbon credits and reach a conversation that I think for forests is essential. It means a lot more to this discussion. So I represent a UK-funded program called Partnerships for Forests. It's a program that has been created and designed to catalyze private sector investments into solutions, businesses, and initiatives that have the potential to either protect forests or restore forests. So we do fund initiatives in a multiple dimensions of milestones, and Terrasos is one of our funded projects. And the idea is then to design with them and to accelerate, sometimes incubate, sometimes accelerate a few of the components of their businesses in order for them to then reach investment level. And I'm happy to explain a little bit more our vision on Terrasos, but I would gladly pass to Mariana.
Sure. So we had planned to have Mariana and Jorge coming first, but I was waiting for Jorge to connect, but yet I don't know if he's awake or not in Mexico, but let's see. So Mariana, I would like, we heard a little bit in Jose's presentation about the power of blockchain and how using eco-registry and the tokenization of carbon credits can be helpful to make sure that the climate finance going into carbon credits is transparent, right? That we don't have duplication, but we need to understand with real case scenarios, how is it actually happening, right? Because there is quite a lot of misunderstandings about blockchain and its possibilities to help advance climate finance. So please let us know a little bit more about what you are doing with the project.
Okay, so first of all, everybody, good morning. If it's okay, I'd like to share a few slides, which I think will clarify kind of what we're doing and why we're doing and why we decided to work on blockchain, right? So just, if you can see there, I think you can see my screen. Is that okay? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Terrasos has been working on biodiversity conservation with climate as a co-benefit, and I'll talk a little bit about this. And we've been innovating with tokenized biodiversity credits. Terrasos' model is born out of the compliance biodiversity credit space in Colombia, but we saw a need and an opportunity to be able to migrate to a voluntary market to provide a product that would serve those corporations and those individuals that are wanting to make permanent biodiversity contributions in a transparent and permanent way. So again, some of our partners, all of them, I think, on that stage, so I'll just go directly. And what are the problems that we're targeting? Short-term intervention biodiversity initiatives dispersed, not results-oriented, and a lot of money that's being wasted and that this world cannot afford to waste. So what we do is provide projects that can aggregate multiple investments, multiple buyers of those credits, and therefore we are maximizing impact, but also reducing transaction costs. And one of the key elements is that everything works under a performance-based payment. Terrasos does not get paid if we do not deliver verifiable, quantifiable biodiversity outcomes. So what is it? Each habitat bank sells biodiversity credits. In the voluntary space, and what we're tokenizing are credits that represent at least 10 square meters for 30 years, and that credit is sold only once, okay? So it's very transparent. We're trying to maximize the footprint of these habitat banks so that we protect biodiversity. And that one credit includes all of these things, which is the technical, the financial, and the legal management that needs to occur in order for permanence to really happen. And this is really important because the projects where we're focusing on, as you can see, they're mostly where the red, where the red is. Those are critical endangered ecosystems. That's where we're focusing, and it happens that these ecosystems are underserved by carbon markets due to size area restrictions, or oftentimes because their natural conditions are not, don't make them attractive for the carbon market because of the removal rates. But they're key for climate change adaptation. So then we come into the space of voluntary biodiversity credit. It's a permanent biodiversity contribution. One credit represents 30 years of a project. And what we did was the result of a working group that came together for about 8 months to design a protocol for this biodiversity credit. So it represents at least 10 square meters of a preserved and restored ecosystem managed, and then for at least 20 years. No project that is less than 20 years can issue biodiversity credits. And again, it's performance-based. It includes, so how many credits a project can issue depends on a methodology that we designed based on how threatened an ecosystem is, what types of activities, how it contributes to ecosystem connectivity, project duration, and the total number of areas. And then this is really important because this ties into the whole transparency and the performance-based payments. If a project can deliver 100 potential credits, it cannot sell them all at once. It can only sell them as it delivers and it achieves performance milestones, okay? But then again, who checks those performance milestones, and what's the value chain that makes sure that the protocol is actually being applied? So that's where blockchain comes in, and this is what the value chain looks like. It ensures transparency, but it minimizes transaction costs. And this is something that we think we're building on based on lessons learned from the carbon market, but also lessons learned from the biodiversity conservation space, which has been going on for decades. So in this value chain, there's a project development. Terrasos does that. We take care and we engage and we become partners with landowners. That project needs to be registered. It's registered in a platform. We're working with XM, and there's also a third-party auditor. So within that registry platform, all our biodiversity credits are tokenized and they're serialized. So one credit has one code, and within the platform, all the information regarding that project is stored, and the schedule, the release schedule of those credits is also recorded there. So credits that go then into the marketplace can only be the ones that were actually released and verified and validated by the third-party auditor and by the manager of this registry platform. So then they go to market, and then transactions take place. Our marketplace, which is in this case climate trade right now, is tied to that registry. So there's an interoperability between the marketplace and the blockchain ledger, which creates a very transparent system, and we're not selling any credits twice. We're only selling what the project actually can sell and has released. And again, there are different, there's that third-party auditor, which is a biodiversity specialist auditor that is involved in the process. So just to give you an idea, right now where our credit's being issued, this is the pilot. The Global Habitat Bank was an area that was logged a long time ago. Lots of the communities were displaced because of the guerrilla armed conflict, and it's a biodiversity hotspot. 345 hectares that we're protecting. It's home to significant diversity of species, plants, mammals, relevant, very relevant for water availability, and we're protecting at least 110,000 tons of CO2 stocks within that project. Then finally, it's protected by a land easement for 30 years, which ensures that it's going to be, it's a permanent protection strategy, and it's not a short-term kind of donation that you don't know what's going to happen with that. So then, when people buy biodiversity credits, what do they get? They get their certificate with their blockchain code, and in addition to that, they get information on what's going on with the project. In case of corporate buyers, they get reporting guidelines for their communications, because we want them to communicate this appropriately, and corporate engagement opportunities for their employees. So this is in a nutshell what we're doing. Again, lots more to say, but clearly not enough time, so thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you very much. And congratulations for the Habitat Bank. And I will have probably a follow-up questions, but I think that we have now Jorge. Jorge is connected. Jorge, good morning. Hello, Jorge. Buenos días. Okay, I think we lost it. So my follow-up question, Mariana, for you.
Buenos días.
Okay. Jorge, muy buenos días, and thank you very much for waking up or staying awake this late. Thank you. How are you, Jorge?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. I don't know if I'm supposed to present in Spanish or in English.
We can hear you not 100% well because of the ambience noise here at the venue. I think they are dismantling the venue as we speak. So maybe I will just wait for the carriage to pass. They are bringing some breakfast for some pavilions. I think that it's getting better and better now. So Jorge, you represent the Banco Mestizo Maya Health Lab in Mexico. And I would like you to explain to us what does the carbon and biodiversity tokenization, how does it help provide a positive impact on the people and on nature? And of course, how does it help reduce greenhouse gas emissions? I hope you could hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me as well?
Okay, yes, I think we can hear you. Yes.
Excellent. I have a few slides to share. Would that be possible?
Yeah.
Or
Could the colleagues bring up the slides, please? Yeah. He's the one who's going to share. You can share your screen, Jorge.
Oh, I can share it now. Thank you very much.
No, please, you're welcome.
Give me a few minutes. Well, a few seconds actually. Sorry for this. Okay.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
Now everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes. Yes, we can.
So I'll just cut to the chase. What we've been doing is trying to exactly tokenize the conservation efforts which have been being pushed forward internationally on a national and continental scale. We are working in northern Mexico, kind of all through Mexico. I'm gonna go a bit fast here. I don't want to talk too much about this. Just to say we're in Mexico and we're expanding towards Central America and South America. So this is what I want you to see. So the way we've found out that it works to tokenize the conservation efforts is through a methodology we call the air charrette, and these are participative, multi-audience, multi-strategic audience, multi-day workshops, which have the object or objective of gathering all the interests from communities and all stakeholders as well, those being the buyers or the investors of this efforts, and the communities which conduct all the field work per se. So and here is where we like to emphasize the connection between the tokenization, for example, between alliances. An example, I don't know, we've worked with certain platforms such as ClimeCoin, which enable us to gather funds to make this air charrettes, to implement these projects, and through these projects and the mechanisms, financial mechanisms we've developed, that being a bank trust, we've been able to approach communities, ejido communities, which are quite particular to Mexico. They have their own governance, and to some extent they're subject to federal law. But anyway, that's another meal. But through both these alliances and this financial mechanisms, we've managed to create trust and transparency as well. And we've been able to accompany the community members all throughout the project, so it'll be successful, right? So we accompany them or give them follow-up through, first of all, social and environmental safeguards and other technical trainings. They already, it's quite important to emphasize that they are already in conservation efforts. They've been doing this practically their entire life, the entire life of the community. So it's just exactly what you say. Just enable them or just tell them that these efforts might be tokenized, and that'll give an impact or make a greater impact to the international community. They can scale up their impact to a new scale. And well, this being said, we create trust with the community, and then we give them a follow-up all throughout the project. We gather the funds, obviously, because they sometimes lack the whole technical capacity or capability. They do have it, or sometimes they just don't know how to translate it into a international scale. So that's where we step in, and we have this airsharettes which gather the interest of all the stakeholders. We bring in some funding, we talk to the community, and well, we act sort of like the linkage between community members who are doing this conservation efforts and stakeholders through alliances, which I already mentioned, that help us scale up the efforts, and the buyers, those being people who are interested in mitigating their emissions, right? Let's see if I can. Okay. Another thing we do or we have come up with to tokenize or make this projects more attractive are international certifications. One of our projects has been certified recently by WHC, and well, this also comes to point out that by creating these alliances between various stakeholders, inviting them to put a little granite of sand, if you will, to scale up these efforts, and telling the community, incentivizing them that the project and their community and the efforts they've been doing will have a greater impact. They'll be noticed by the international community. So that really incentivizes the community to implement these projects. So this is one of our projects, which is blue carbon at Ejido Cizal in the southern state of Yucatan. And we've been recently been awarded for awareness and community, which is part of trainings, giving trainings to community. and accompanying them to implement these projects. Engagement is trying to educate, so to speak, community members on these types of platforms, on the importance of these alliances, and well, the habitat and marine intertidal and the mammal are quite self-explanatory, but for example, the mammal certification is specifically for jaguar conservation. So there's a lot of jaguar conservation going on throughout all these communities, and again, they've been doing it. We just try to make the links between local efforts and international efforts. We try to kind of mix them all together and create a greater impact. One of the mechanisms, if you will, is the ex ante sales. We think by bringing in alliances, such platforms such as ClimeCoin or whatever it be, and incentivizing international buyers to put money up front, that really motivates communities to step up their game, so to speak, right? It has worked for us. We're working that way, and it also helps us detonate projects, develop the ones that are underway, and give some kind of financial support to communities. We encourage them to create a social fund, which is a fund that we tell them, so a certain percentage, whatever you decide of the proceedings, we encourage them to keep it so they can cover their needs, those being schools or fisheries or whatever is outside the project, right? And okay, just to wrap up a little bit, we've come out with another mechanism which creates this link between the local efforts and international efforts, which is the Bonos del Jaguar del Mayab expedition. So Bonos del Jaguar del Mayab is the portfolio of projects we have, but we'll have time to discuss those other topics. So we came out with this expedition to give the opportunity to communities of showing their real value, so to speak, to give the opportunity for the international community to witness firsthand the efforts communities are doing, and internally at the Earth Lab, we believe that we really have to keep the mystic values of communities, their social structures. That'll be very important for the success of the projects. Make them feel that we're giving value to all of their reality and not just their conservation efforts. So we'll be having this expedition on February all throughout the Mayan Peninsula, all throughout the ejidos in our projects. And yes, it's kind of our our way of saying this is the real link that we're creating between international actors and local actors. So I think it's really important to see how funds are being channeled, how they're being used, and so as well the community members to know what people or what persons are helping us to push this or to keep doing this conservation efforts, right? So I'm gonna stop there, and just to wrap up, I hope you understood well, and I remain attentive of whatever you might need.
Thank you.
And so that's the way we try to create that link and tokenize conservation efforts and biodiversity and social component, the social components of our projects.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation, Jorge, and all the best for the expedition next year. I think it was very clear, but I still have one follow-up questions for both of you, Mariana and Jorge. In Jorge's presentation, the social value and legacy of the operation is quite clear. I would like to still ask you, you kind of the middle man and the middle woman. How do you make sure that the communities get the fair price for their environmental protection services, and that we don't end up with situations that we've seen in the past with prices paid, very low prices paid for carbon credits? Mariana, maybe, if you want to take it first.
Sure. So for us, landowners are partners of the projects, and there's full transparency there. Also, in the case of biodiversity credits, they're only sold once. So there isn't price speculation, and there isn't kind of that trading that happens with carbon credits. So in the end, almost 60% of the revenues from a biodiversity credit are going towards landowners. Everything that's happening on the ground, conservation, restoration activities, monitoring, et cetera, taxes. We have to pay taxes on land, on sales tax, etc. And then there's the cost of capital. It's very straightforward. The price of a credit is the net present value of all the management costs and expenses during 30 years. So that's how we do it.
Thank you, Mariana, for that. And Jorge, in your case?
So it's kind of the same. We work through a bank trust to give full transparency to all stakeholders. And well, what gets really interesting is that we try to fix a price. I know that for international actors, well, the market volatility is something present in our everyday lives, but for communities, they don't have that in their imaginary, right? So we try to fix a price, and as Mariana said, I'm not trying to repeat her words, but communities are our partners. It's in the interests of both to develop the project, to make the project successful. And yes, we put that all into a bank trust, into a contract, and we agree, or what we at least propose to communities is that from 50 to 60% of the project's profits go to the community. And we give full transparency on how the money is distributed. That all that is agreed beforehand, and that's kind of the way we get the communities on board and give as well international actors the certainty that their money is being used for good intentions or for the at least the intentions we establish beforehand.
Thank you very much, Mariana. Thank you very much, Jorge, for presenting your projects. And now, before we wrap up here in Sharm el-Sheikh, I would like to ask one closing question to Juliana and Edgar, if you may please come back to the scene with us. How important is it, transparency and the ethics? We touch upon that here, but it is important to clarify that communities are benefiting, that the profits are going to those who are doing the protection, environmental protection work. It's also important to make sure there is no double counting, and for that the blockchain technology is super important, but you are funding projects in the end. So you are the one deciding where you are putting your money from the private and public perspective. So how important is for you transparency and accountability? Edgar?
Yes, I think it's one of the important things, because giving confidence to the investors and also giving confidence to the landowners is one of the biggest challenges here. And I think to achieve that, it's a jointly work between the private sector and the public sector. The public sector has to create the regulations and the laws to implement that confidence to the financial instruments. And given that, I am sure that more and more investors will be able to put their money in this kind of project.
Thank you, Edgar. From your end, Julia?
Yeah, I think similarly, in our case, it is, we are dealing with UK taxpayer money that goes into initiatives and projects in countries or in regions most of the time that money giver doesn't even know where it is or has little connection to. So there is also an effort from our side to give back the transparency about what those investments are. And we are in a time where this kind of funding they're based under countries' commitments to international climate funds and to tap into climate mitigation, adaptation. And this is all what it is about, this discussion here, the climate conference, mostly about funding and finance. So it is crucial that we show that money is actually going to initiatives that have great potential, to attract other funding, so that it's not only based on public money but on private sector money too. There's another side of the discussion, which is the private sector claiming there are no investable opportunities when it comes to nature-based solution. And here we see examples of yes, they are very serious, very mature, very well designed and advanced, ready for investment, and also with a very clear link to the ground. And I think this is the key point, because ultimately when it comes to forest, biodiversity, watersheds, etc., there's someone there who will make the decision to either protect and needs to care, and it's someone that is very far away from financial centers, big cities. So how do you make sure those people are very well aligned? Because ultimately, a blockchain contract will make very, very little if that person is not committed to whatever it is on the ground. So I think it's key.
Thank you very much, Juliana, for that. And thank you, Edgar, and special thanks to Mariana and Jorge. 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. You are heroes. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you very much to Climate Trade, Climate Coin, of course. Thank you to the UN Climate Change Global Innovation Hub. And I wish you the very best for this last day almost last for negotiators, and have safe travel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.